We are starting now. Take your seat. Starting now.
Joragelt, good morning. Welcome back. How was Anchored last night? Aaron's like, this is awesome. Please put the mic down my head. It was a fun time. Cool. And thank you to EPAM for sponsoring the night. And how many of you found the video game area in the back? That's pretty cool, no? So retro. So for a moment, I'd like you to imagine you've been tasked, given the job of designing a user experience conference. Imagine that for a second. Or maybe it's your own idea. You're in the shower and you say to yourself, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make a user experience design conference in Europe. Think about all the decisions. Think about the checklists you would have to make. This conference started in 2015. Well, the first Amuse was in 2015, but the process started a year before that. And when I was at Prezi, I was working with the team who came up with this conference, and I got to see the checklists and watch the decision making. I've seen the spreadsheets, and there's so many tabs. It's more tabs than you can imagine. But the hard work and the decision making that goes into making a conference like this is very kind and generous, what these volunteers have done to make this day possible. And I would like to introduce you to two people who, from the very beginning, had this vision to do this thing in Budapest. And they work with many volunteers to make this happen. And I also know that they're very much responsible for curating the talks and for creating the vibe and helping to choose the food and what goes on the screen, all the details. So please welcome to the stage Zsuzsa and Zoli.
Hello, hello, good morning. This is the hardest part of the conference, standing here in front of 600 people. But we can do this. So first of all, I would like to welcome all of you. This is actually the 5th edition of Amuse, and I couldn't be happier and more proud to be here. Before we kick off day 2, we decided to share a few thoughts from an organizer's perspective so that you have a better understanding of what we're doing here and how we're doing the things here. So the first thing I'd like to share is the importance of feedback for us. So our overall mission is to create an awesome or outstanding conference experience for UX designers, researchers, product people, developers, and so on. And we cannot do this without your feedback and without your input. So from year one, we encourage you to give us your feedback, tell us what you think, and so on. And there are many ways for you to do this. One is, maybe it's the simplest one, if you see people in these organizer t-shirts around the venue, feel free to stop by them, say hi, and tell them what you think. If you need any help, if you have some concerns, questions, problems, they will be, or we will be happy to help you. We also have set up a Slack workspace this year, actually last year, and I'm happy to see that quite a few people have joined it already. If you visit amuseconf.com/welcome, you're going to have a link to the Slack workspace. You can just log in. Most of the attendees will be here, will be there, so you can reach out to them, get to know each other. Also, if you have any questions, the organizer team is monitoring that Slack instance, so they will be really happy to help you real quick. And then also for formal feedback, we're going to send you out a link via email at the end of the conference. It's going to be a Google form, and we are asking a lot of questions about how you felt yourself, how did you like, the food, the location, the organizers, the program, and everything. And then based on your feedback, we plan to iterate on things whenever needed, and this is actually what we've been doing for the last 5 years. We kept iterating on things to make this experience better for you. My second thought that I would like to share is another vision that we have in mind, which is a more sustainable conference experience. You might have noticed it's more than 1,000 people here, and it's really hard to avoid having a footprint. There's catering, there's badges, there's technology. At the same time, each year we have been introducing steps to reduce our economic footprint. So one thing that we introduced this year, you might have noticed, is most of the cups are refillable, and also all the garbage is collected by some super nice people, and they will manually collect and select and recycle every single piece of garbage that we make, which for us is a huge step. We're not, yeah. We're far from being a zero-waste conference, but that's our vision. That's the way to go. And also this year there's something new. All the food that's left over will be collected by also some nice people, and will be delivered to shelters and people in need. So food will not be wasted this year. That's also a huge step. And then my third thought would be a shout out to our sponsors and supporters. You know that Amuse is a not-for-profit event, and as such we are strongly depending on companies supporting us either by money or goods. And you already have seen most of our large sponsors. They had the video spots here, and usually we have their logos up there. But you need to know that that's just the tip of the iceberg. Those were just the large sponsors. We have also supporters and partner companies working with us, providing swags, licenses, giveaways. Overall, we are collaborating with 22 companies. So this year, 22 companies decided to support our case and be here with us. And I would like to point out, that's also something that we keep repeating. We have some games on Twitter, so make sure you follow us on Twitter and then check our Twitter feed from time to time, because that's where we are announcing some games. You can win some nice swags, but also some really serious and useful licenses, and those are expensive too, and that's a secret. It's really easy to win, so make sure you follow us on Twitter and then play with us. This is what I wanted to point out, and then Zsuzsa.
Thank you. As Zoli started, feedback is our bread and butter. It's very important that you guys tell us how you felt, and not just the good part, but we want to hear about the bad part, is because that's what helps us to improve and make it a better event year to year. And we just wanted to tell you a few things that we decided to change based on your last year's feedback, so to really empower you and let you share your feedback this year as well. We, for example, introduced the food menu compared to last year, because what we discovered is that a lot of people who have special diets or who need to avoid gluten, for example, couldn't find the meal that is suitable for them. So we came up with this idea on a workshop to do a food menu that you can reach. If you haven't heard about it yet, you can go on amuseconf.com/menu, and you can find also the lunch menu for today, and you can find everything there that you need to know. Another change that we did is around food logistics. I'm sure you've been at a lot of conferences, and as how we started also with Amuse at the first year is that there were huge queues for lunch. And the team is so amazing, and they managed to make it possible that 1,100 people gets lunch in 30 minutes. And there are no huge queues where you need to stand for hours. And I think this is an amazing achievement from all the people who worked on that. And a third thing that we also changed for this year is that we introduced the lightning talk section. We didn't have such in the previous years. We always had 40-minute talks. And yesterday, after lunch, you remember we had 3 shorter, really amazing talks. And we really like that. And we think that this is also a good thing that we probably keep if you also tell us that you liked it. And a little statistics, and from what happened in these past 5 years. So in the first Amuse, when we started to organize this with Zoli, we thought this would be a local conference, and we thought maybe a few people would come from the surrounding countries. And in the first year, we had over 20 countries who came to Amuse. Now, by today, this grew into a real international conference, because you are coming from 43 different countries. And today, so it used to be mainly a local attendee group. By today, we have only 40% local people and 60% international people. And I think this is really amazing. We are feeling humbled by that, and we have no idea how you heard of us, but we are really happy that you made it here and you are here today. We also have speakers from 8 different countries, which we also try to go and broaden and to try to give you and bring you stories from all over the world. This is still something where, of course, we can get better, but we are really happy that we managed to broaden this a lot in the last 5 years. And then, if you've been to Amuse a few times, you know that we are obsessed with one specific topic, and that's the gender ratio, and I need to talk about that a little. And that's because we now have proof that this is something that is so very important to invest in. And so I think we can start with, do you remember when we started to organize the first year and we sat down and we started to list all the great speakers we've ever seen on conferences? And we already had, I think, 8 or 9 speakers approved or confirmed when we realized that these are actually all men. And the reason behind is not because we don't like, or there are not amazing women speakers out there. It's because this is the bias that we lived in. Because if you look around in the world, most of the conferences overrepresent male speakers. And so that was the point when we realized that we also need to change this bias in our heads. And from the second year on, we very, very consciously looked for trying to get a balanced gender ratio in our speaker lineup. And from the third year on, so 3 years in a row, we have a 50-50% female-male speaker or gender ratio among our speakers in our lineup. And thank you. Before anybody thinks otherwise, this only means that we put an extra effort to find those amazing women speakers who are out there but underrepresented, and we wanted to give them an opportunity on our stage to show themselves, and we are very happy with what we could achieve with that. And I tell you, this seems to be a small thing, but it has a huge impact, and I tell you on what. On the first year of Amuse, among you, we only had 20% women and 80% men, as this is in this industry. You know what happened throughout these 5 years with the fact that we put women on stage? Today, we are almost 50-50% among you. We have 47% female, 53%, almost 50-50 in the attendance. And this proved us that this is a very important thing. And can only recommend it to you. If you are organizing an event or you are hiring people, put in the extra effort to find those amazing women who are among us. So thank you very much for coming, and thank you very much for also proving us that this is worth doing. But one thing we are the most proud of is the retention that we have, because we have people here who are coming here for a long time. And we have a little surprise, but for that, we will need you to activate yourself a little bit. It's morning. I know it's very early, and the party was cool yesterday. So first of all, I would like to ask you to just stand up, all of you. Very quickly, stand up wherever you are. Please do that. Thank you. So this will be a little game, live statistics, you can say, live research. So I would like to greet all the newcomers. Thank you guys for coming this year, and a big applause for everybody who is here for their first time. And now that the newbies get their applause, please sit down. But everybody who is here for not for the first time, please still keep standing. Yeah, it's really hard to see. Okay. So now everybody is standing who is here for the second, the third, the fourth, or the fifth time, right? So now you who are here for the second time, raise your hands. Yes, a lot of people. Thank you for coming back. And now, sit down. So now we have the real retained people, right? Raise your hands if you are here for the third time ever. Also a lot of people. So cool to see. Thank you for coming back. And please sit down. So you guys who are still standing, we couldn't be more honored, but for all of you who are here, but you who come back, you are proving that we are doing something that is valuable. And so we have a little present for you. We have some branded socks for you guys. So please come to us in one of the breaks so we can give it to you. And now that we were here way too long with Zoli, we need to also invite all the other people who work tremendous to make this possible, because what is happening on the stage is just one thing, but we need mics, we need lighting, we need food, venue, transportation, and all of these things. So please welcome everybody else who do the majority of the work. Come on, guys, on stage. And you also know we have a very, very weird habit of making a selfie on stage. So now this is the awkward moment when we will try to do that. Thank you for your patience.
Get in there, Zhuzha. We will need a selfie stick for this. Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we'd now like to bring the first 3 rows up for their selfie. Maybe at lunch. Actually, if you have a moment, come try out the stage on a break. You can just walk up on the stage, see how it feels. Maybe you'll be speaking in a year or 2 here. So here's a little riddle for you. What do the following songs have in common? What do the following songs have in common? Sweet Caroline by Neil Diamond, Copacabana by Barry Manilow, and That's Why They Call It The Blues by Elton John. These are Mike Atherton's favorite songs to sing at karaoke. Please welcome Mike.